Hi, this is Philip Byrne for PhoneScoop.com, and today I'm taking a look at the Samsung Intensity 2, which is now available for Verizon Wireless. And there have been probably a half dozen different examples of phones with this pretty much the same design that you see here, with the 12-key keypad up front and the full QWERTY keyboard hidden beneath. Both Samsung and LG seem to be jockeying for position in this market. And honestly, I'm surprised that the design hasn't come further. With so many different design types out there, I'm surprised we haven't found one that just works perfectly yet. I found the Intensity 2 a little bit difficult to use. The number keypad here, as you can see, the keys are sort of angled, but they were not easy to type on. They were a little too short. I kept missing numbers, hitting the ones above and beneath. The QWERTY keypad was a little bit small for my tastes, and I don't have the biggest fingers around. But I still found it a little bit difficult for typing. The keys are nicely domed, but I still had a lot of missteps, a lot of typos and errors, and I would have liked a keypad that was a little bit more responsive. Now, Samsung and Verizon Wireless try to keep things fairly simple with the Intensity 2, and in some ways they really get it right. So for instance, you have this basic icon grid. It's a little more stylish than your average grid of icons. And you can actually remove 4 of these choices and replace them with your own. The phone is sort of a messaging powerhouse, so you get text messaging here. And as you can see, you get a threaded messaging style, so the messages pop up as sort of chat balloons. You can read the entire conversation at once instead of having to read messages one at a time. And that's a feature I really like. I like to see that on a messaging phone. That's the way text messaging should be these days. The phone also comes with this Social Beat app, which gives you access to Facebook, MySpace, and Twitter. It's mostly good for status updates. You can upload pictures as well, but it doesn't have too many advanced features on it. Still, if you're just interested in keeping in touch and reading your status updates, the phone did a fine job there. So for basic messaging features, the phone actually did okay. And if you're looking for a phone with a cheap plan trying to avoid that data plan, you could certainly do worse than the text messaging on this device, though you lose out on those social networking features if you don't pay more for data. Now, unfortunately for call quality, the Intensity 2 really suffered a bit. I really wasn't happy with the call quality. Things sound heavily digitized and muffled on both ends of the call, so I really thought it could have been better there. As you can see, the phone also uses 1x networking, so this is not a 3G device. It uses the slower network. And the web browser on this phone is really barely worth the trouble. It's really more for emergencies only. As you can see, it jumps by default to Verizon's WAP mobile browser page. But if you want to open a URL, it actually jumps to a separate page where you have to enter the URL. You don't get to just enter it and jump directly. So every single time you have to enter in a new address, it just takes a while to load. Then once you have loaded a page, if you want to switch to landscape mode, for some reason the phone decides to reload the page after you've switched from portrait to landscape, even though it looks fine here. It still decides to reload the page for you. So the web browser was pretty much a complete pain. I would avoid it at all costs. Other features on the phone were pretty much equally disappointing. You can play music on the device, but it was sort of difficult to get my music on here. And the phone only uses a very small 2.5mm headset jack, and it doesn't come with a pair of headphones. So you're either going to have to find an adapter or go searching for a new pair of headphones because your regular old earbuds aren't going to work here. GPS navigation did work fairly well. I was pretty happy with that. That's one of the apps that did sort of come through for me. And here you can see the camera app on the phone. The phone has a 1.3 megapixel camera. Images were really lousy and the phone doesn't take video. But for emergencies, if you're really into picture messaging, if you think you just saw Elvis walking through the parking lot, I suppose the camera could get the job done. So that's the Samsung Intensity 2. It's a cute little phone. It certainly does a nice job with text messaging, and for some people that's going to be enough. But if you're looking for more out of your device, if you make a lot of phone calls, or if you want more data features, I would definitely look elsewhere. For PhoneScoop.com with the Intensity 2, this is Philip Byrne.